Well, welcome everybody to today's webinar, 25 B2B content mistakes that cost you business and how to avoid them. For those of you who aren't aware of me or don't know me, my name is Suzan Chin-Taylor, and I'm the CEO and founder of Creative Raven and the Tuit Group. And my two companies, our goal and our mission for primarily folks within the wastewater treatment and infrastructure industry, I'm a sewer rat, is to help demystify content marketing and PR and digital marketing so that companies of all sizes can really learn how to utilize this form of marketing to increase sales and create more and more opportunities and collaborations and strategic alliances using this platform. And so today we're going to be focusing on common content mistakes. Whether you are already working on some content marketing, social media marketing, doing some blog or some PR, there's going to be some things here that, for new people, intermediate, and also advanced that they just may not be aware of that they're doing. And so I'm going to turn off my video here. My controls will come up for me. And we're going to kick into the slides. So mistake number one is mindset or limiting beliefs or attitude, whatever you really want to call it or define it. And so there are a lot of people that are afraid of digital marketing, content marketing, simply because they don't understand it. But the bottom line is, if you don't believe that it's going to work for you, just like anything in your life, it won't. It's just simply not going to happen. And you need to be aware that content marketing, digital marketing, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You cannot expect instant gratification results or things to happen overnight for you. But one thing to keep in mind is that content, more than anything else, when you think about your marketing that you do, everything that you do related to marketing is content. Whether it's an ad or a news release or your website or an article, it's all content. So content is the currency for your business. And it brings everything that you do in the way of marketing to life. And so you don't need to overcomplicate it. Content is just more of what you've already been doing to promote your business. Mistake number two is no landing pad. And what I mean by the landing pad is when you have content that's published with your messaging, people need to understand, so what am I supposed to do next here? And so it's important that you incorporate a call to action. You might hear the abbreviation or the acronym by folks that are in marketing known as the CTA. That's nothing more than call to action. Because you're only going to have a very few seconds to capture someone. And once they do, and you've got them on the hook, you need to have a place for them to go that it's going to direct them to take that next action in order to get in touch with you or whatever it is you want them to do. Maybe it's to download a special report. Maybe it's to book a meeting. Maybe it's to pick up the phone and call you. Maybe it's to sign up for a newsletter. Whatever it is, you need to have some place for them to land that's attached to that piece of content and that it makes sense to that prospect. Mistake number three is inconsistency. We talk about the goldfish. Sadly to say, but this is the truth of the matter, is the average person on digital media, reading content, scanning it, has the attention span of a goldfish. You've got a couple seconds. So the only way you're going to capture your prospects or re-engage your customers or really position yourself as a thought leader and an authority on a subject is you need to be consistent. A little 3-second blurb here and there and every once in a while, it's not going to do it. You need to be consistent and persistent and frequent with your content. This is an incredible opportunity to reach prospects before your competition. Content gives you the ability to educate your customers And so this all applies to attracting top talent for your team. How do you want to be perceived out there in the marketplace? I'll just cite an example, and many of you on this call may know her. Kerry Siggins of Stone Age Tools. She is able to retain and recruit great content simply because of the wealth of information that she publishes on her website and on her social media feeds. That people see this as an up and coming, very thought leading, forward thinking company, and someone that they would want to be a part of. And so this is a chance using content for you to position yourself the very same way. No variety is another common mistake, because people educate differently. Some people like to watch video and animations. Some people love to read, voracious readers, and want the long form article with all kinds of references and links so they can do a deep dive. Others want the Cliff Note version, where there's a couple key bullet points and short little graphical, animation, or an infographic. And so it's important that if you have a topic that you want to discuss and put out there on the airwaves, do it in 3 different formats: video, long form, and short form. This way, you're going to have the best chance of getting the attention of the most eyes that you can, giving them your information the way that they like to receive it and the way that they're best able to consume it and understand it. Again, leveraging multimedia gives you the biggest impact for the greatest number of people. Bad timing. Okay? This is a really big one. Automation can be really helpful, and it is a powerful tool and can save you a lot of time because I use it myself. My VAs use it for me. But it's important that you set it up to work at the right time based on when your prospects are going to be available or maybe looking for information, those times of day where they're checking in. Now, one thing to keep in mind, maybe you've got some important content, but you're part of an industry, and a lot of your industry prospects, they might be at a big trade show this week. So that might not be a good time for you to publish that content because they may be busy with other things. They get back to their hotel room. They may be tired. They're going to barely check email, and they're out to dinner with a client. They're not going to have time to check in with their social media. And so that might be a time where, okay, I know everybody's away this week. Let me set that content off by either doing it a week before or a week after. So think about the timing so that it's published in tandem when people are making those decisions or looking for that information. Some of you may be part of a business that is very seasonal, where people are looking for optimum times to make purchasing decisions as to, oh, I've got to start planning for that. And so you can time, like holidays was an example. But if you're dealing with municipalities, perhaps it's year-end budgets that they've got to use up. So maybe you want to start planning on doing some things that are going to affect those purchasing decisions to use those budgets up in the fall to get their attention. Just an example. Tunnel vision, mistake number 6. Content and digital marketing. It's very difficult to track and measure ROI. And measuring success of content and digital marketing is very, very subjective. So do not get wrapped up in vanity metrics by the number of views, the number of impressions, the number of followers. You could have a post that's got thousands of views, but if it did not make your phone ring or your email box blow up with inquiries, then does it really matter that you had 3,000 views on that post? Quality versus quantity, okay? Never compare. It's more important for you to be consistent and posting valuable content and not get wrapped up in what your competition is doing and how many views they have. Again, it's all about vanity. Ask yourself, is what you're doing in your content creating an uptick in your website traffic, true inquiries? Is it creating business? Is it creating viewer engagement? Contact. Contact is really the only measuring stick that you should be concerned with. Over automation. Automating content, and while it really can help with the workload, Because let's face it, if you've got a very aggressive and robust content and digital marketing program, it requires a lot of labor intensive time, okay? But if you do this and you do not do it right, it can actually hurt your credibility because of the way that automated tools generate, share, and publish your content. So really think about how you're going to use this and why. Scale the tasks that you already know are working for you and avoid blasting out curated content without review. Do not ask someone to do curated content for you and you don't look at it without knowing what they're posting on your behalf if you're hiring a VA or an assistant to take care of this for you, because it could make you look very unprofessional, especially if the introduction is not in your voice and the message is not consistent with the way that you want to be perceived in the marketplace. Because honestly, at the end of the day, there is no substitute for the human touch. Sales speak versus useful speak. Mistake number 8. The 80-20 rule. Just like we have an 80-20 rule in business that, 80% of your profit's going to come from 20% of your customers, there's also an 80-20 rule in digital marketing. 80% useful, helpful, and relevant. Something that's going to actually showcase your expertise and subject matter that is helpful to that decision maker in deciding, yes, you are the person that I want to work with, or you've got something that is worth exploring further, or it's inspirational or edutaining. 20% of it, it's okay for sales and promotional, like, hey, come visit us, we're going to be at this show. Or, hey, I just delivered this new unit to a client and here we are. That's fine, and that needs to be done because it shows that human element and it gives you credibility that you do have customers. But again, useful content, testimonials from customers, but again, not all about you. And when you publish content, be sure to ask yourself, and be honest about this. If I were my prospect, would I take action if I received this content or saw it and was looking for my solution that I'm offering? Not leveraging content is another big mistake, because anything that you publish, especially in the form of a long form article, think about if it's a little bit on the marketing speak side. To strip that marketing speak side out, add a little bit more of educational, unbiased, and use that to build PR items that you can pitch to the news media to get your name out in the media. So try to extend and multi-purpose everything that you create for all of your channels as much as you can. Because multi-purposing, don't use, I say to my clients, avoid the one and done rule. See how many different ways that you can repurpose something. For instance, if you have a white paper that is very extensive, look into that white paper and see, are there maybe perhaps short form blog topics that I could extract from that and use on my website? That's just one example. Non-native. Now, this was something that I was not aware of until quite recently, and so I felt it was very important to include it here. Now, if you're using LinkedIn and if you're doing B2B, chances are that's where you're spending most of your time. Within LinkedIn, post and upload video content files directly in the platform versus using a share link from the source, such as YouTube or Vimeo. And why? Because this is going to score you higher with the AI on LinkedIn and on the social platforms, because when there is a link to content that's coming from another source, if someone wants to view it, it creates the chance for that viewer to leave the platform to go see the content. So if your content keeps you on that platform, they like you better. Just something to remember. Not maximizing distribution. Now, what I mean by that is if you've been doing a lot of old blog content, and we know this takes time, are you repurposing that blog content? Blog content is passive. Nobody's going to see it unless they're visiting your website or they've subscribed to an RSS feed and they're coming back and they're visiting your site. So make sure that if you are publishing blog content or you've been seen in a magazine, in an article, create awareness of that content by sending it out on a newsletter or putting a link to that content or a synopsis on your social feeds. Try to place it everywhere that you can to try to get it in front of as many eyes as possible. Missing the pain points. Mistake number 12. Ask yourself when you're thinking about what types of things you want to talk about in your content is what are your prospects struggling with? What do they need the answers to? Do you know? If not, you need to ask. Ask your audience. Ask them what is most important to them right now. What information are they searching for out on Google that they just simply can't find? This is a great opportunity for you to fill a need that no one else is. What do they want to know and how do they like to receive it? Again, to decide if people are asking, man, I wish there was a video that talked about this. Well, there's your answer. You need to develop maybe a short series of videos on those topics. And if you've got the answers, publish, publish, publish. Because I'm a person that's all about paying it forward. And I'm all about paying it forward because the wastewater industry has been extremely good to me. And so because of that, I'm all about giving back and giving something because you're giving me of your time and I really appreciate it. So here's a gift for you. I am offering a free 30-minute digital DIY digital marketing game changer consult. Now, Matteo is going to be putting the link to getting your appointment on my calendar in the chat, or you can use the QR code that's here on the screen. And this 30-minute DIY, there's no cost and there's no obligation. At the end of this, I guarantee you're going to have these 3 takeaways. You're going to have tips for gaining a competitive advantage and brand amplification. We're going to discuss a roadmap, and I'm going to give you some tips and a plan of action that is actually doable for you. And we're also going to do a dive and get really analytical about what's been keeping you from achieving your sales and marketing goals online and what you can do about it. So please, I encourage you, take full advantage of that. I promise you're going to get something out of it at the very end. And there's also some surprises too, because for many of you who don't know, I am also the host of the Do Divas Smells Like Money podcast. And so I am always looking for interesting podcast guests. And so you might wind up being my next great guest on the show after we have our consult. So moving right along, let's take a look at mistake number 13. And this is not an unlucky mistake number 13. This is actually something good because it is perfectly okay to republish and repost useful content. You might have published something maybe 4 months ago and it got a lot of engagement. Well, maybe you can rework the introduction to that, maybe change it up just a tiny bit and republish it. And try to do it at different times and at different places, different days to track engagement. Don't ever abandon good content too soon. Number 14 is the wrong voice. What we mean by wrong voice is depending on the personality, your personality, as well as your company's personality, the brand personality. Make sure that it's matching up. If you're a company that's very, very laid back and easygoing, let that come through in your voice of your content. If you're very technical, educational, professor-like, let that come through. Make sure that the company voice and the brand integrity comes through on everything so there's not a disconnect. The only time that you can have a little leverage on this is with a personal profile where maybe you're a salesperson, everybody knows that you're a joker, that make sure that you're keeping the brand voice, but throw a little bit of your personality in there as well without losing sight of the brand continuity, all right? Because we are trying to connect with other humans. People do not do business with a brand or a company. They do business with other people. Please, this is probably one of the worst. Mistake number 15, writing for the SEO robots and the algorithms. SEO and keywords, yes, very, very, very important, but to a limited degree. Write your content for people, not for bots. How many of you, and you're probably, I know you've experienced this. You go onto a website and you start reading the content, and it's keyword packed. The sentence structure doesn't make any sense. It's disconnected and it's all over the place because it doesn't have an unnatural flow, as if you're sitting in front of a salesperson and they're telling their story. That's because whoever wrote it was trying to write for indexing bots. And the indexing bots are getting very, very smart to this. And so it actually will hurt you. A lot of times we forget to leverage our clients. This is a great, content is a fabulous time to get a chance to make your customer the hero. Interview, we've all got smartphones with cameras and video capabilities, or most of us do, I hope you do. Interview clients about their experience. Get them to offer a peer-to-peer educational content and get testimonials, not endorsements, true testimonials. If they want to talk about an experience or something that they did with you, format it in a problem, solution, result format. Case studies are absolutely fantastic to have on your website, and then do little short form synopsises of those in a video or short animated PowerPoint presentation that you can publish on your social media feeds with a link to a PDF of the full detailed technical article. Leverage your clients, make them the hero. Copycatting. Be yourself. Don't try to mimic your competition, and be original and not another Me Too. Because you are perfect just as you are, and you have special gifts that only you can bring to the table, and don't be afraid to talk about them. Here's a big one. The sales and marketing are not aligned. Your sales team needs to be closely involved with who is working on your content development and your messaging and publishing it. Loop them in and ask them for their feedback on when they're out there on sales calls. What are the prospects asking? What are the questions? What are the prospects, and we talked about this earlier, what are the prospects struggling with, the pain points? And most important, what are their top objections to what you're offering? And the answers to these should be your top priority content items on your editorial calendar that you want to answer and write about. I'm just going to go back to that for a second, because for those of you who are thinking about content and are maybe fearing what I call the white screen of death, where what am I going to write about? The answers to these questions are great starter prompts for content writing, because your sales folks are already answering these questions. So ask them and loop them to help you in on how do we write this. You're already answering it. Let's turn it into video, long form article, and short form graphics. It's easier than you think when you start with these kind of simple exercises. Wrong producers. Ooh, 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 ooh. Don't task people that aren't good writers, that don't understand this, or they're non-sales marketing people with producing your content. Such as, you may not want if you want to be less technical and easy to understand. No offense if there's engineers on the line, and I don't mean to disparage you in your skills. But there are some people that are just not meant to write content for social media and digital marketing. They're subject matter experts, and they're the people that should be interviewed to get the knowledge. But then someone else should take that knowledge and craft it into the messaging so that it's well written and easy to understand. And it is sales and edutaining speak. Hire a ghostwriter to help you if you need to. When you stop relying on the wrong people, you're going to do a lot better. Because if they don't understand what you're trying to do, they're going to overcomplicate the process, and the end product is not going to be what your prospects really need or need the most from you in order to make that educated buying decision and saying, oh my gosh, I cannot live without what they are offering. Perfection paralysis or analysis paralysis. Stop overthinking this. If not now, when? Just hit the ground, start doing it, and just publish. You're not going to break anything. You're going to learn things along the way, and stop being afraid of it. It's all okay. None of us are perfect out here. We're only human. And that's the beauty of social media. It's social. People expect it to have human flaws, all right? We versus you. Mistake number 21. Use the word you in content more than the word we in the content message. Be tuned into station WIIFM. What's in it for me? Pretend that you're the prospect reading it. And I said this earlier. If I came in contact with this piece of content, would it make me want to take action? Too technical or complex? Getting back to, again, having the right people write your content. If it is a complex subject that needs explanation in layman's terms or through analogy, chunk it down. Make sure that your content can be readily understood by a decision maker, or for many of you, if you have multiple levels of decision makers. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And if it needs more explanation or more technical speak, then offer a link to a technical sales sheet or a technical document, or if somebody's asking about safety, your SDS, yes, you can certainly do that. But don't try to make that part of the initial short burst content messaging, remembering about that goldfish and that attention span. So we're about rounding up. For those of you who didn't do it earlier or joined us late in the meeting, please take advantage of this offer for a free 30-minute DIY digital content marketing game changer consult with me. Mateo has placed the link in the chat. You can also use it for this QR code. And I promise you, you are going to get a lot out of this 30 minutes. You're going to walk away with some tips that you can actually start implementing in your business right now yourself to gain a competitive advantage and understanding, what's going on out there. I'll help you get started on creating a roadmap and a plan of action that you can actually execute that's doable. And we're also going to discuss what's been keeping you or struggles that you've been having from achieving your sales and marketing and your digital sales efforts and virtual selling, and some things on what you can do about it. And for our last couple of mistakes and what you can do about it is the wrong outsource. There is an old Chinese proverb that my late father-in-law taught me, and that is, if you are only willing to pay peanuts, you most certainly will only get monkeys. If you are outsourcing, cheap is not always the best. There are certain things that you can task and go low price, such as clerical VA services. But when it comes to the actual production and creation, send that to a pro. I hear many, many nightmares about people who outsource overseas. And you can do this because I have an overseas team and they do deliver amazing results. But that is because I am paying a premium price and they're very, very well educated. And so you need, even if you're going to outsource it, Be prepared to pay a fair price for quality work. No team. Content is definitely a team sport. This is not something that you're going to get done in 2 hours a week. This is something, if done right, you may be looking at 40, 50 hours a month. So if you don't have the right internal team, remember that one freelancer probably cannot do it all, nor one person on your team. It's a team effort. So it needs to be managed and organized and published. And you, as a business owner or a manager, need to make people accountable for who is going to be doing what. And so that you can execute it. Don't try to take on more than you know that you can honestly do, and do it consistently and frequently. And the last mistake is, I'm the only one that can do this. Oh, I've been in that pitfall, in that pit myself. I'm the only one that knows how to do this. No. Thinking that you are the only one that can produce the content for your industry other than you is a really costly notion, because you know what's going to happen? You are a business owner or you're a manager. Your job is to generate revenue. And I've seen it happen time and time again. Your content will fall to the bottom of your priority pile, and it just simply will not get done. So be open-minded. And there are many, many reasons and advantages to using an outsider to take care of this and take that heavy lifting off of you. One, it's going to alleviate you of time that you should be using to build your business, okay? They are going to be able to extract your subject matter expertise and then present it to your prospect audience in ways that may be much more objective or helpful to your audience in understanding what it is you're trying to help them with. Because sometimes when you are too close to it, you can't really explain it as well as you should. It can also help you by using an outsider to make sure content is produced correctly, and like I said, consistently and on time, and is being placed in the channels where your eyes are. And so that wraps up our webinar. I want to thank you for being online with me today. And we are right on time at 1:35 here, because I said 45 minutes to leave time open for 10 minutes of Q&A. And so please, the floor is open. Matteo, if you want to start reading some of those questions, and hopefully there were some questions.
I think you might have answered everybody's question, because nobody's typed a question in the Q&A section. And it was a very engaging presentation, so I can imagine. But if anybody does have any questions, feel free now to type them into the Q&A. We're monitoring it, and we'll get them answered right away.
I'm going to turn myself. Why is my video not coming back on? Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, nobody has put any questions in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, wait. Does it? Okay, here's a question from Angelique Marnier. Does it work to post on social media every day?
Yes, it does. Something. Again, like I said, the more frequently you post, the better. And when it comes to your content, you're probably thinking, oh, what could I write about every day? It doesn't always have to be your original content. It can be something where you've seen somebody post something interesting and you just reshare it and then write your own take onto why you were sharing it or your thoughts, just to have some engagement. That was something else that I didn't touch on here. But if you really want to be successful in this, commit to at least 15 to 20 minutes a day to be on your social media channels and engaging with other people's content, making comments, sharing, not just an emoji or a like, but actually making a thoughtful comment like, thank you for sharing, I really enjoyed this, and add something to it. There's a reason for why you want to do this is because the AI sees that you're engaging with content, and so therefore it sees that you're a very active participant on the platform. So therefore it will start pushing your content out to other people's feeds much more. So you'll start to see an uptick in your own engagement. So the more that you're engaged and publishing and vocal, the better it's going to be for you in the long haul. I hope that answered the question.
It doesn't look like we have any more questions, Suzanne. I guess we'll wait a little bit longer. If anybody
Sure.
has any questions at
Well,
all,
some
feel
people are
free.
shy to be that first one. And so
Right.
if you want to field some of your questions and hold it for, the Q&A Game Changer Consult, that's fine too. I know there are some people that, they're worried, oh, my competitor could be on the line, and that's cool. And so we can talk in confidence, one-to-one on the Q&A session. So,
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions.
okay. Well, thank you for that one question and being that brave soul that raised their hand. I appreciate that so much. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll leave it open for another 5 minutes for anybody that may be hanging out here and wants to take advantage of the DIY and grabbing that QR code. We are going to have a replay of this available so that if there are things that you want to review, and because we did go through this pretty quick and it was a lot of content, I know a lot to digest and something that you might want to go back and refer to, we are going to make it available. For those of you who are not first level connected with me on LinkedIn, I welcome your connection and to share information. And look forward to seeing some of you online and engaging with you, and hopefully some of you on a DIY Game Changer Consult meeting. So, everybody, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thank you. Thank you for sharing time out of your busy schedule with me. I really appreciate it.
We have a comment. Thank you very much for your great, concise review of social media marketing. That's from Kevin Mercer.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Matteo, I'm going to stop the record. And
Okay.
again, thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. And best of luck to you, and I hope to see you online.